Oh, wait, I said in the short. She was going crazy.
Eugene, our public hearing meeting will now come to order. Will we please stand?
Please stand for prayer.
We're going to do a prayer, then we have 30 minutes of silence. Would you be able to
In our 30 seconds of silence, if there's a name you wish to call out or some you want commemorated or have memory, you speak out. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight and we thank you for this rain, even though it's at a bad time. But we pray that you take care of everyone on the way home, and you pray for your guidance during this meeting. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. 30 seconds of silence, please. Any name you wish to call out, feel free.
Rebecca Wilder.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Freedom of Information Act, please.
Freedom of Information Act. In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of this meeting and its agenda will provide to all news media and persons requesting notification.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelman,
Present.
Commissioner Hollingsworth,
Here.
Commissioner Kernodle,
Here.
Commissioner Platt, Commissioner Wilder,
Here.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, listen up, folks. I know many of you have signed up for the public hearing to speak in favor of or in favor against. I'm going to let my clerk read the rules and regulations. Come over to read the rules and regulations. All of you can sign up to speak.
Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, and no personal or verbal attacks will be permitted. The commission is interested in hearing your concerns, but speakers should not expect commission action or deliberation on subject matter brought up during the public comment period. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the administrator and may be scheduled for a future agenda. The public is reminded that the commission is limited in the scope of its responsibility and in the goals it may pursue within its statutory authority. Comments should be relevant to the commission's scope of responsibility and its statutory authority.
Thank you. Now, order number 2018-01, 001, to raise the revenue and adopt a budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019. I will now open up the floor for anyone wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance. In favor of this ordinance. Anyone wish to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Favor of the one.
You signed in favor of,
In favor of? Okay.
We are calling from the list.
Okay.
and I will be timing you to 3 minutes when
You got timer, can you, I'm sorry. We will have a time of 3 minutes.
You got time a half hour starting now, not when you all were talking before?
well, we're gonna add on if we need
Oh,
to.
okay, great.
If we need to, we're gonna add on.
Okay,
Can we call the first person?
Joanne Dixon.
okay, that's me. I want to say I'm for a mill increase that I would like to see, one, used for a hall rental that's big enough for public hearings. This is insane. Two, I would like to see the mill increase to invite some sort of outside consultant or audit to look for ways to downsize the budget and how it's being spent and economize. Specifically, my last thing is in the area of the garbage trucks. I spoke to the recycle man today. We have these new garbage trucks and we still take 3 people to empty, garbage cans, we still take 3 people to empty them. I'm nervous, I'm sorry. I don't understand why we can't look. I'm recommending some consultant in the increased salary to look into why we can't have a one-person system like the recycle man who does it all really easy. He said we might lose some jobs, but I'm sorry, that's not my concern as a taxpayer to be finding jobs. There's plenty of jobs in this economy right now. We have new garbage cans, and we still have the same amount of men emptying them. So I think that you could find some ways with other intelligent consultants used in this mill increase to find ways to save money instead of just keep going up and up and up. I'm for the new firehouse. I don't understand if the county gave $400,000, if the town's offering $1 million or something like that, I don't understand why it needs to be 5.5 mil, if there are other ways, but I am in favor of it. But that's what I want to say. I would like to see some of the money used for ways to keep this budget from going up and up and up, whether it's wastewater that we're not here to talk about today, that just had a 20% raise, and what you're proposing today. Somebody outside has got to look into ways to keep this manageable for us on the entire budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in favor of? Is there anyone else in favor of?
Miss Everhart, is there anybody on your list? No, all right.
Now we move on to those who are opposition of the budget.
So how you doing?
I didn't know what the procedure was to be able to sign.
Please.
That speaker isn't working very good either. People can barely hear what's going on outside. Just a heads up. It's a big old speaker, but it's not putting out any volume.
First person, please.
Joe Woolsey?
336, you get 3.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Like most residents of the town, I'm very concerned about a 13% tax increase. Also, like most residents of the town, I very much appreciate the fire service and solid waste protection, fire protection and solid waste collection you all provide. I understand that the PSD needs revenues to provide these services, but in my opinion, the problem is that the state limits the PSD's sources of revenue, so you have to depend too much on property tax. Mr. Chairman, earlier this month I wrote you offering the town's help. The town has many sources of revenue. We can provide money so that you don't need to depend so much on property tax to fund fire service and solid waste collection. We hired a respected law firm, the Pope Flynn Law Firm, to work on this problem. They work for towns and PSDs across the state. Many of you have gone to seminars at the Special Purpose District's annual convention and heard them speak. The response to my offer was this: I am embarrassed that elected officials in this community signed a letter full of insults and attacks on the town. But I'm willing to forgive and forget. Please, let's move forward. Work together. Let's develop an intergovernmental agreement that the town pays the PSD as much as $1 million in exchange for the services that the PSD provides us, the valuable services they provide, and that the PSD will consent to a credit against the PSD taxes on the county tax bill. If you have legal concerns, share them plainly and clearly. Meet with the Pope Flynn lawyers. Let's talk about it. Let's work together. Now, Mr. Chairman, I know that you personally are very concerned with the people in the unincorporated area. The majority of the population, the voters, and the majority of the tax money that is raised comes from the town of James Island. But there's a lot that comes from the unincorporated area, and I care about them too. They were in the town just 6 years ago. When I was elected mayor, they were my people too.
Time.
No, ma'am, 2 minutes, not 3.
I'm watching the clock. Thank
Mary Rossi?
Yes, well, I've lived, my husband and I, who is an heir, have lived in town since it was incorporated, and at the time we moved, we've been here 15 years, and the town was formed at the time. I think a total of 12 or 13,000 people total voted for or against. That was as little interest. I think there are 18,000 people in the town, and y'all are asking to turn the town into like Mount Pleasant. And we're not Mount Pleasant, we're middle-class people, we like to keep it middle class, keep the flavor of the town. And you're being very aggressive, I think, in your aspirations, future aspirations, but I think they need to be thought out. I also emailed each one of you separately. Each email came back to me as blocked, which was shocking. So if any got through, I'd love to hear it. But in any event, we're opposed to this astronomical increase. I mean, it's like SCE&G all over again, and we don't want to experience that. And I do, and I think all of us, I can speak, assumed that you were working together with the town. And that's very upsetting, because no, we don't normally attend meetings, and you did not also put any information on the PSD bills that you passed or pre-passed this proposal of a 13% increase. Didn't see it on my James Island PSD bill last month, and we should be advised. We're the citizens who pay the bills, and we would love to cooperate, but we need to have facts. We need to have where you got your numbers to just put out 13% and more to come. If you're still in office, because it's my understanding that most of you are up for re-election. So, I mean, it needs to be a mature group and not, now, is it against, not, before it was against Mayor Riley. Y'all hated him. Now, are you hating Mayor Woolsey? Is that what this is? Because there's a lot of tensions here. And that shouldn't be, because we assume you're grown up, the mayor's grown up, and we assume as citizens of the town that you all work together for the future and the benefit of a better town and a town that remains James Island. That's all I have to say. So I oppose, and my husband does.
Next, please.
Period.
Angela Lawson?
I just spoke for my husband. He had to leave. I spoke for him.
Alan Laughlin?
Okay, it's 5:42.
Did that sound all right? He's kind of nervous.
I'm gonna attack this from a little bit
I'm very
different direction.
emotional.
This body is considering a huge increase in taxes to pay for a new fire station, new equipment, and pay raises for employees. I have absolutely no objection to any of these. What I do have an objection to is looking at a budget submission that is not accurate, because many of next year's budget numbers are based on the current year. When I compare the 2018 budget submitted last year with the 2019 budget you submitted this year, I see a little under $300,000 difference indicated for this year. And yet many of the totals that you show on your submission of what the budget is going to be are the same as what you submitted last year for the budget for this year. It's kind of sloppy in the fact that the numbers inside the divisions don't necessarily be the same. For whatever the reason, you have not submitted an accurate budget. Either you haven't used the money approved for various items, or you neglected to move them around, or I don't know. As a matter of fact, the numbers are not even listed on the new budget, so we have no idea where they stand. So I don't trust this budget. I don't trust this budget compared to last year's, and I don't trust this budget compared to what you're getting ready to say for the coming year. It shows you're eliminating safety, $950. You're eliminating safety medical supplies, $250. The annual safety event at $4,891. You're reducing security monitoring by $5,000. And you're reducing external training by way of seminars and accompanying the travel and transport by almost $40,000. You highlight safety as one of the big things that you've seen in your staff around here, because the incidence has gone down. As a 25-year safety veteran, I can tell you right now, you start reducing the training and the monitoring on that, and the incidence is going to go up. I have a real problem with this budget.
Thank you.
The resident at 670 Port Circle?
Okay, it was 5:44.
This is Aaron on that?
What's your address?
Darren Mullinax?
Yes, Darren
Okay,
Molinax?
yeah.
544.
Okay. Well, good evening, all. I'm glad you are having this here tonight. It's good to see you all again. I shall be succinct in my comments. I do realize there is perhaps a need, some kind of tax increase for it, as is already stated. However, I do think that 13% is a little high. Also would like that there will be subsequent tax increases thereafter. And I would like you all to consider that. And that's all I would have to say tonight. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
William Gold?
Good afternoon, how are you?
545.
I want to take just a couple of seconds to speak to you folks. I'm against the increase in property taxes for a couple of different reasons. First, I want to say I think the PSD's done a great job of providing services. I can't complain about that. I do resist the increase of double digits for taxes because with the influx of folks we've had for years and years now, it would seem to me to be with good planning, not the planning by trade, to know that was going to occur and planned on increases in taxes on a small amount versus one hit of 13%. That to me says that probably better planning could have been done for that. I also think that you got to consider every avenue of support for additional funding besides the property tax. I'm kind of piggybacking on what the mayor had to say. I think there's plenty of opportunities out there to find additional sources for money. So have you broaden your scope once out there and see if you can provide increased money that you need. Let's face it, nothing gets cheaper, I understand that, but I'd really like to see a broader scope of work versus forcing a 13% increase or tax increase on members of the income. Especially for those with limited income, this could be a deal breaker for them.
Excuse me, what's your name again?
Bill Go, G-O-A-D.
Thank you.
Mary M., is it Bruno?
Bruns.
It's 546.
Behind.
She's in here.
Stand here.
546, go ahead and start.
I'm a resident of 38 years on James Island. I love James Island. Some of the changes I like, some I don't. I do appreciate the job that y'all and the firemen and police officers do. I do oppose the tax increase. I think it's gonna hit people hard. It says like on a $300,000 house, it's only this much. Well, if you have seniors and disabled people and people that are working and doing the best they can, I don't care if it's $50, it's a lot if it changes their budget. The other thing that I don't like is the fact that there's a meeting and nobody knows about it, and then when they have one that the public is kinda sorta made aware of, I don't understand, if you can put signs out that say your garbage pickup is on such and such a day due to a holiday, why can't you put signs up saying there's a town meeting because your taxes may go up 13%? Or put it like she said on your bill. But I totally oppose it. I think y'all should look at other means and, look at cutting some money somewhere else because I don't think that the people are gonna be able to afford this. Thank you.
Susan Fletcher?
548.
I have a question, first of all, is why are we in this financial crisis management situation that we're in now? Because 13% reflects a crisis situation. And you always plan for salary increases. I agree, employees should have the salary adjustments. Obviously, we need more fire protection because the town is growing. It is turning into a Mount Pleasant. There's very few plots of land that are empty now. So yes, we need fire. And the sewage and everything. I don't understand why it was left to this point in time. I don't understand why Mayor Woolsey's proposal has not been entertained as far as the town transferring some money over to PSD. That seems like a logical thing. I don't know how much research has been done. And to me, I have to agree with the other people about this last minute notice. This, two things. It either, you're just, I know it's insulting, but you're either incompetent financial planners or you're being deceptive, but it's just not right for the citizens to find out at the last minute when we didn't get notices before. And I don't know if this is like a political power struggle that went on with Mayor Riley and the town. I mean, now we have it between PSD and the town of James Island. I don't know, but it's not right. It is not right. Thank you.
Thank you. It's 5:40, 5:50.
I am on a fixed income and I have rental property, and with it going up on my house and the rental property, I cannot swing it. And I try not to raise the taxes. I mean, the property, when I'm renting the property, I try to keep it at a level that they can afford, and I try to keep the house upgrade and everything else, but I cannot afford 13% this year and to keep going up and up. It is, we just will have to do something else. And I think that we reform as James Island, and I want us to work together.
Thank you.
Anna Walston?
Who was that?
Anna Walston?
I'm gonna start you at 5:51.
Anna Walston, 954 Neighbors Drive. I oppose this tax increase. I'm very pro police officer. Sorry, I saw you first. Fire department here on James Island, they responded to my home. It was very quick response time. However, we also had the city show up because 911 was confused as to who to dispatch. So I proposed and asked the question, how can we do things more intergovernmentally? You know, with the overlay project, we're seeing the governments work together, hold each other accountable to stay true to what the citizens asked for in it. And I'm hoping that the PSD may be open to at least hearing what the mayor of the town is proposing as something that we could work together intergovernmentally on. But for 75% of that 13%, and then is it 3 or 4 increases post that going towards one fire station? That it doesn't seem like the best use of our money or of our resources. Another thing I don't understand how it works is the poop pipes, I guess. Sewer pipes. Thank you. So the sewer pipes, everyone's using them on the island. I pay Charleston Water a bill every month, and I don't know why my neighbor across the street in the city is getting JIPSD service and not paying JIPSD. I don't understand how Pulte Homes is going in at the top of my street, and I see PSD putting in with the substation and increasing the sewage work for them, but Pulte Homes isn't paying for it. So their residents are going to be city residents. They're not going to be town. They're not unincorporated. And I see that the town residents and the county residents are hit from every single government that we have in the area, and none of us are actually being efficiently served by all the different government entities. So at this time, based on what the increases are for and how they're being allocated, I very much oppose them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aileen Branham? Branham?
She's coming.
Arlene Branham.
Bradford Avenue.
3.
Hi, Arlene Branham. I live on Bradford Avenue. I am opposed to the tax increase for 4 years. I think this is not good planning. I think that there's other entities such as the town of James Island that can help out in these expenses. But also, since some services are given to Folly Beach and to the county, the incorporated areas, and the city, are they also being asked to help with increases? I think our employees should have increases, our firemen, our staff, whoever helps, you know, the trash pickup. I'm opposed, I'm in favor of that. The solid waste, I'm definitely in favor of that. They do a wonderful job. But I just have questions why we need to build a new fire station and not revamp the fire station, possibly. But more than anything, to work with the other entities, to work with these other governments, instead of taxing, just always coming to the taxpayers for the money. I think there's just other ways to do it, and I think voting for 4 years, already talking about 2019, 2020, and 2022 increases. How can you vote for something 4 years in advance, not knowing, one, if you're gonna be here, all of you that sit here now, or two, what's gonna happen? I think it needs to be reevaluated and vote to increase or make the taxes for those of our employees and the immediate things, and put some of the other on the backside for a little while. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy Palmer?
555.
Wendy Palmer, 1227 Fairgreen Drive. As all the others here, I oppose this budget. I guess I have to say, at least you posted you were gonna do a raise this time, when the last time you never posted anything, and there was no public hearing. You just went ahead and taxed everybody. I also think this commission here is very unfair. You have 4 people who are always gonna vote with each other, and they're always gonna vote against 2 others. And I'm sure everybody knows who they are. I think the town has presented you a fair, very fair opportunity to not raise the taxes so much. Along with that, the town has grown tremendously in the past couple of years, which already increases your budget by paying for their utilities. I think the staff you have is fantastic. The staff, you can't be beat. They're always polite, they're always on time, they're really good people. And I don't know why they stick with this commission, because you don't do them justice at all. So I oppose this budget, and I'll continue to oppose this budget, and thank you for your time.
Herbert Cromwell? Herbert Cromwell?
Cromwell?
Herbert.
Herbert Cromwell.
Riverland Drive?
Come on in, sir.
Oh, he didn't know he was supposed to sign up.
Are you at 1797 Riverland Drive?
Yeah, I must have signed the wrong page.
Oh, okay. Melissa Doherty?
Let me see the.
I didn't speak. He wants to speak.
557, Ms. Doherty.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Melissa Darty. I live at 753 Grimsley Drive in Lighthouse Point. I just wanted to say I oppose this tax increase, this budget. And I would like the commission to vote no today and to explore other options to raise revenue for the much needed improvements, for pay increase, the fire department, et cetera. Also, in Lighthouse Point, we have a large number of retired residents who are on fixed incomes, and such an increase would be extreme hardship on these residents. And please consider these things as you vote today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marilyn Child? The resident at 811 West Madison Drive?
Would you say your name? Marilyn Clifford. My name is Marilyn Clifford. I live at 811 West Madison Avenue. I live 7 houses away from where I grew up. I've been on James Island for 47 years. My mother lives 7 houses away from me still. My aunt lives 2 streets over. I first want to commend our James Island Fire Department, because anytime we've ever had a problem, such as the day my grandfather died, they were there way before anybody else, and they're always Johnny on the spot, and I thank y'all very much. I have no problem expanding money for y'all's raises and for a new fire station and stuff, but not at this rate. The rate that you proposed, my mother's 80 years old, my aunt is 77, and it's everything they can do to pay what they've got now. This is the amount of absorbent for people on a fixed income such as them. They don't work anymore, I'm sure you imagine. And I kick in and I help them too. I think that's a sentiment you're gonna find a lot across our island. James Island people, we love our island. We don't wanna go anywhere, but we're being crushed out. We have a president that just put more money in our pockets and more jobs available so that we can do things and flourish a little bit, and now it's gonna be swept away at a local level instead of at the feds. it's the same money going right back out. I'm sorry, but I object to that. Please consider that and explore other options. Maybe now is not the time to make that decision because I think a lot more research needs to go into this because it means so much. As you can see from the turnout tonight, this is an issue very near and dear to everybody, and I thank you for your time.
McKinley Durham?
Hold on one second, we need to come out of this meeting and extend the time. It's 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock.
Okay, yes, yeah, we said, we did, as commission, we did say that we will extend the time. So many people are, want to speak, so,
I make a motion, we extend the time 30 more minutes.
okay. Do I get a second?
Second.
Been properly moving second that we extend the time 30 more minutes. Discussion, please.
I'm fine.
Hold on.
Roll
Call
call.
for the vote, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch?
Voting to extend the
Extend the
time.
time.
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Engelman?
Aye.
Commissioner Hollingsworth?
Aye.
Commissioner Kernodle?
Yes.
Commissioner Platt? Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next speaker, please.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna start you at 6:01 since we had to come out and come in.
Perfect. McKinley, got 11 insurance. All right, I'm McKinley Durham. I live at 1836 Cornish Avenue. I first want to thank all of the district employees. You guys are incredible, and I think that the commission did a wonderful job in getting a study done to figure out what the right pay amounts were to encourage that retention. So thank you for that. You had one win already. So I'm going to help lay the guideline on how you can keep on winning, since I know a lot of you would like to win again in November. So the first thing you can do is open up intergovernmental relations, talk to everybody. I grew up in a city that was pretty similar to James Island, where it was unincorporated county, city, another town, all coming together and providing conflicting services. And my dad actually was mayor at the time, and he helped forge a plan where not only did the residents of the city get double the services, but there was actually a 5% tax decrease, because they went through all of those contracts and said, wait a minute. I think someone said that when there was a fire at their house, it was James Island and the city that showed up. That's ridiculous. We can work through that. We can get through the red tape. That's the benefit of being a small town. So that's the first way we're gonna win. The second way we're gonna win is look at ways that we can find revenue elsewhere. I see that one of the largest line items in the budget is for a new firehouse. Have we looked into grants? I mean, for example, the city I'm from, they need a new sheriff's substation. Instead of raising the money from their residents, they actually got a federal grant for that, and also had a building school help design the building, and it ended up actually being a benefit to the island, so it looked pretty neat. We can do all these things, and there's no reason why we can't. If you vote yes today for the increase, you're telling us that you're giving up, and I believe in you guys more than that. So please don't let us down.
Deborah O'Shea? Deborah O'Shea?
Deborah O'Shea. Address?
What's the address, Channel?
1769 something Ashley Street.
1769, Lady Ashley.
Lady Ashley. Michael O'Shea?
Michael O'Shea.
They may have left.
Lance Sudan?
Okay, 603.
Lance Sedano, 1829 Cornish Avenue. First off, I'd like to say, everyone that came here, thank you all for showing up, either opposed or not opposed. Everybody's made great points. I can't say anything about people deserve a great wage. People deserve all that, but for a 13% increase, it borders on ludicrous. But I think the reason y'all are doing it is because, as nice as this is, there should be a lot more people. But y'all know that people are coming down here and seeing a 13% increase, and to them it's not much. They're coming from the north, they're coming down here, and number one, they're either not paying attention, even though, just like everybody said, there wasn't much of a heads up at all. So they're coming down here, and even if they heard 13%, It's still a lot less than what they're paying up there. But we're not up there, we're down here. We all have mortgages, we've got bills. 13% and then more to come is beyond ridiculous. It's crazy, and I hope y'all get voted out if and when y'all do approve this. Second of all, I don't know if this is a proper form or not, but the extra county officer on James Island, that's ridiculous. I don't see how an extra county officer is gonna stop two people from going at it and shooting one another just to say there's more. Yes, ma'am. It's Mr. Woolsey, I think.
That has nothing to do with our.
Well, like I said, it's not the proper form, but yet I'm voicing my opinion. I'm a resident. At least it's being heard. So that's all I have to say, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It should be a lot more, but that's the reason y'all are doing it, because you knew you wouldn't get a good turnout.
Elizabeth Singleton, 1832 North Humboldt Road.
I'm sorry, ma'am, it's 6:05, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm here to oppose it. A few years ago, not this full group of commissioners, decided it was best to save us money by, instead of having a twice-a-week pickup, once a week. Prior to that, you decided the best way to save money is instead of being open on Fridays, work only, have the admin section only work 4 days. Somebody's lying somewhere. This was supposed to save money. You sold Plum Island a number of years ago. The plan for a fire department did not just start overnight. It's been talked in and about for the last 5-6 years, back in the June wearing time. You don't need an increase to do what you're doing, because right now, you're doing just the basics. You said it was great being in the town or James Island or the unincorporated area because we had 2 pickups a week. We have 1. I mean, what are you doing with the extra money? You all used to meet twice a month. You now meet once. Have your salaries decreased? No. I mean, let's be real about this. You're looking for us to give, but you're not giving anything. It's not fair to the residents, the people you serve. Some of you are up for re-election, and a lot of people are probably thinking about, why should I vote for somebody who really don't care about me in the first place? If you have a budget, you don't just come up at the last minute and say, this is what it is. You don't say, you have the television stations advertise that the meetings start at 6 o'clock. But it starts at 5:30. This is not how it's done. We are residents. We pay your salaries. That you must realize. Without us, there would be no you. This place incorporated more than 55 years ago. And the old people, who mostly are dead and gone, worked very hard to get a James Island PSD to represent us, to get sewer.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
No
it?
one else has signed in.
No one else?
That's it.
Nobody else has signed in. Anybody else will sign in?
You have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Good, I'll second.
All right?
Call for the vote, Cameron.
You need to repeat the motion.
The meeting has been moved for adjournment. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Brown Crouch,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelman,
Yes.
Commissioner Hollingsworth,
Aye.
Commissioner Kernodle,
Yes.
Commissioner Platt, Commissioner Wilder,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we're gonna, thank y'all, first of all, I wanna thank all y'all for coming out tonight. I know all y'all concerned, and, I just wanna know y'all, I want everybody to know I'm a lifetime James Islander, except for my time in the military, and I worked very hard for the town of James Island, the 3 towns of James Island. And, I hear y'all concerned. Y'all concerned is well taken. Now we're gonna have a 5-minute recess.
5 minutes.
And then we're gonna go back into regular meeting. Okay, 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
So 6:19.
Okay.